Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the unseen infrastructure that literally powers our entire digital world. I mean, think about it. Every single millisecond, data is crossing oceans just to reach your smartphone. We're going to demystify exactly how that happens. And more importantly, we're mapping out the exact progression in this incredible field. So, let's look at your definitive roadmap for an IT networking career in 2026 and beyond. Right off the bat, we need to absolutely shatter the illusion that being a network professional is just one single job. Honestly, if you ask 5 different people what a network pro actually does, you're going to get 5 totally different answers. And there's a good reason for that. The field actually operates more like a ladder. Each distinct rung demands a completely different depth of skill, a wider scope of responsibility, and a totally new way of thinking about infrastructure.
Now, looking at this map, you'll see this journey really isn't just about collecting random job titles. It's actually a single, connected skill tree that branches out from a central core of competence. Let's break down exactly what separates these 4 core stages as you evolve from a hands-on technician all the way up to an enterprise architect.
So, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by looking at the overall networking ladder, then climb our way up through the foundation, operations, design, and strategy levels before wrapping the whole thing up with some tips on future-proofing your career. Let's get into it. Section 1. The Networking Ladder. Compounding skills over time. The skills required in networking strictly compound chronologically over these distinct periods. Basically, a career in networking rarely skips steps. Each level builds directly on the instincts you developed in the one right before it. It might be tempting, but rushing past the fundamentals actually tends to create really weak architects later on. You absolutely have to put in the time at each step of the journey. Moving on to Section 2, Foundation, Network Technician, the hands-on beginnings. At this stage, which is typically your first couple of years, it is all about hands-on reality. You literally are the foundation of the IT infrastructure. You're getting your hands dirty, running cables, prepping copper and fiber connections to industry standards, and configuring those basic switches so they're ready for production. When someone complains that the Wi-Fi is down or a rogue printer somehow brings down an entire subnetwork, you're the one on the front lines diagnosing those physical Layer 1 and Layer 2 problems. And your foundational toolkit here is very physical. You're working with patch panels, cable testers, and basic terminal tools like PuTTY. Mastering the OSI model and knowing how to handle a crimping tool, that builds the precise instincts you're going to need for your entire career. If you're just starting out, certifications like the CompTIA Network Plus or Cisco's CCST Networking are absolutely your best entry points. They validate those core concepts before you even touch the vendor-specific roles. All right, Section 3, Operations, Network Administrator. Keeping the lights on. So here, the pressure definitely scales up as you take ownership of live operations. You're shifting from just setting up the hardware to actually keeping the systems running and all the users connected across the whole organization. You are actively administering core services like DNS, which is basically the internet's phone book, setting up secure remote access through VPNs, and enforcing security policies to make sure the business stays safe and online. To pull this off, you'll rely heavily on tracking performance with tools like Zabbix or SolarWinds. And you'll start automating those boring, repetitive tasks with basic Python or PowerShell. You're mastering some complex routing concepts now, too. Things like VLANs to segment traffic and spanning tree protocols to prevent disastrous network loops. These skills are validated by operational certifications like the highly respected Cisco CCNA or the Fortinet NSC Associate. Next up, Section 4, Design, Network Engineer, moving from maintaining to designing. Now, there is a super clear distinction between these two roles. Think of it like this. As an administrator, you're maintaining a building that already exists. But as an engineer, you are actually designing the floor plan. You own the architecture decisions at the project level. You're planning and building the network solutions from the ground up, and then fine-tuning them for absolute peak performance. It's a real game changer. The engineer's responsibilities just leap forward significantly here. You are architecting connectivity that supports entire data centers and cloud workloads. You're managing SD-WAN to intelligently route traffic across distributed office sites and designing redundancy so that a single failure doesn't cause a massive outage. When complex, multi-layer issues pop up that basic tools just can't isolate, you are the final line of defense for troubleshooting. And to do all this, you need to master advanced routing protocols, like BGP, which, by the way, is the protocol that literally holds the broader internet together. as well as NPLS. Automation? Yeah, that's no longer optional here. You're using Python libraries like NetMiko and configuration tools like Ansible to manage devices at a massive scale. Getting to this level of expertise really requires professional-level vendor certifications, like the Cisco CCNP Enterprise or AWS Advanced Networking. Which brings us to Section 5, Strategy, Network Architect, the visionary peak. At this stage, the architect steps back to see the whole board. You're no longer focused on individual project configurations. Instead, you are defining the overall technology direction for the entire organization. This role perfectly blends deep technical mastery with serious business acumen. You're the one establishing disaster recovery plans, aligning architecture with strict compliance standards like GDPR, and setting the priorities for future infrastructure investments. You're now diving into multi-cloud designs and intent-based networking, which basically means you just tell the network what you want it to do, and the software figures out how to actually make it happen. But listen, technical depth alone won't get you here. You absolutely must master leadership, budgeting, and risk assessment to guide engineering teams and communicate technical direction to non-technical stakeholders. This pinnacle of the career ladder is marked by expert-level exams, like the Cisco CCIE or the Azure Solutions Architect Expert. Finally, let's look at Section 6, Future-Proofing Your Career, Navigating the 2026 Landscape. Look, new paradigms are completely reshaping the tech landscape, and we all have to adapt. Specifically, AIOps is bringing machine learning-driven operations into the fold, literally predicting issues before they even cause an outage. Meanwhile, zero-trust network architecture is completely replacing those old security models. By 2026, we never assume trust just because a device happens to be in the office building. Every single user and device is verified continuously. No exceptions. This breakdown of the top 10 in-demand skills shows you exactly where the industry is heading right now. Whether you're provisioning environments entirely through code using Terraform, or you're rolling out lightning-fast Wi-Fi 7 across a massive campus, mastering these specific, high-demand skills is going to make you absolutely indispensable at any rung of the career ladder. Remember, every single visionary architect started out by plugging in just one single cable. The network is the absolute backbone of every digital transformation out there. So I want to leave you with this question to think about. What's the next skill that you'll connect? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today, and keep learning.